What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. What's going on with the overall market is going to be very important for tomorrow. What the news is saying about Tesla in the markets, and what the data is suggesting, as we're starting to see some bullish technicals going into tomorrow for Tesla and SPY and the QQQ and many other tickers. But before I break anything down about why on earth that is and what's going on with the charts, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in 2 days. Check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the overall market. So looking at Tesla, staying was up about 0.86% for the day, holding up quite nicely. And Tesla ended up getting this very, very nice looking bottoming signal around this 238 area. Now, in the morning, I called out that Tesla could drop just a little bit more before getting a bounce. That's almost very close to what happened. We did come down to this 238 level, the level I called out, and that is where Tesla went to. I mentioned if we did break below this, we could have gone down to 235 and then bounced, but it all depended on this level. We ended up holding it quite nicely, and Tesla started to show some strength, and we started to see the whole market hold up quite decently as well. So I do believe there's more upside coming. I'm going to break down exactly why that is for Tesla and these tickers in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk about the news that came out. Basically, the S&P 500, the futures, the indices, the Nasdaq, they all closed higher today, stopping the 4-day losing streak. And this is important because the market was selling off and becoming very oversold over the last couple of days after the Fed announced their changes to monetary policy. The Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell's speech led the market to selling off very aggressively. When the market sold off, it became very oversold. So it is technically due for a bounce, not just based off technicals, but many other factors. Now, I'm not saying the market's going to bounce and just go and go and go until the end of the year. That's not at all what I'm saying. I think we're going to see at least a temporary bounce because we're due for it. But there's always the risk of downside in October one more time. Okay, there's always the risk of that. I just want to warn everyone about this. But we're not going to worry too much about the market topping or anything like a rug pull coming in October just yet. For now, I just want to focus on the charts in front of us and suggest that upside is likely coming. I'm going to show you guys once again very soon. But first, for data coming out, we have the house prices index report coming out 30 minutes before the market opens, and some home prices data year over year and month over month. This could cause some volatility 30 minutes before open, but nothing too crazy in my opinion. I think we're going to see more volatility after the consumer confidence report comes out at about 10 o'clock a.m. New York time or Eastern time. 30 minutes after the market opens. Then we also have new home sales and some manufacturing data from the Fed all coming out 30 minutes after the market opens for tomorrow. So that could cause some volatility, in my opinion, some upside. We also have Bowman from the Fed giving a speech, so that could also cause more volatility. My prediction would be some more upside, as the market does tend to like when Bowman speaks. Anyways, when it comes to Tesla, we have some news that came out that Tesla has once again offered some more price cuts on the Model 3, but it's nothing too insane. I think Tesla was already very, very oversold, so this balance was still fine. I don't think this is really affecting them as badly. So right here, Tesla started off with these price cuts by like 2,500 to 3,000, and I think we have a little bit more coming very, very soon, but they're very minor. It's not as crazy so far, so I don't think this is affecting them as badly. But with these small little price cuts, which are still coming out, this once again is going to be important because Tesla's continuing to just get as much demand, and they're trying to clear as much inventory as possible ahead of the release of the next Model 3. That's very important because Tesla's doing what they can to just get rid of these inventories. And you could see with the price cuts coming out, the inventories are dropping like a rock. The Model Y inventories are dropping very hard as we're starting to see Tesla sales going up. Same thing with the X. The X is like kind of flat, but the Model 3 sales are also going up like crazy. That's very good for Tesla. It's very, very good demand. Very awesome to witness. Now, when it comes to Tesla, Barclays has come out. They're giving Tesla an equal weight rating, saying that Tesla is going to perform equally with the markets. That is fairly reasonable, but I think there's some potential for Tesla to outperform the markets a bit, at least temporarily. I think there is some potential for that, and I'm going to be watching to see how that plays out. The price price ratio is kind of low for Tesla. It could start to bounce right here, which means Tesla could gain some relative strength. And on top of that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy. Tuesdays tend to be green about 51% of the time, so it's basically a coin flip. And we tend to see more hourly seasonality, more green during the 12 o'clock p.m. area, so around noon Eastern time. That's about 3 hours after the market opens. And also during the later hours around like 2 o'clock p.m., Tesla tends to be more green. I'm calling this out because Tesla tends to be a little bit slower sometimes in the market. Not always, but sometimes. Sometimes, especially over the last week, when the market would fall, Tesla would fall a little bit later. Sometimes Tesla would run a little bit later than the market too. So sometimes that happens. And we saw, another example of that today. So it could play out again this way. We'll see if that ends up being the case. As far as Tesla goes, though, the shorting has gone up. We saw about 43 million shares shorted just on Friday of last week. So shorts are continuing to pile in. If Tesla keeps rising, we may see a mini short squeeze where Tesla starts to push up thanks to that on relatively low volume. Volume was only 104 million, so a little bit below average, and yet Tesla managed to hold up. That tells me that we likely saw some short covering. We're likely going to see this short interest start to decrease just a little bit, start downtrending a bit because shorts may start covering temporarily as we approach this like uptrend in the markets for the time being. All right. So what do I see for the charts, guys? It's very simple. If you look at Tesla very carefully, we're going to start off with the daily. We have a potential bottoming signal right here, and Tesla's going to likely try approaching 250 plus on the daily according to that chart. On the 4-hour chart, we have a nice bullish divergence that established right here and a bottoming signal, forming this very, very nice accumulation towards this imbalance, which could push Tesla towards 260. But before we talk about 260, let's first worry about the next resistance level. That's going to be 250 to 252.5. We're going to be watching that area very, very carefully. If Tesla breaks that, we're going to be flying towards 260 or very close to 260, in my opinion. So I'm leaning more bullish. I think 250 to 252 is coming first. And if we break that as soon as tomorrow, we could be seeing 260 soon. But for now, just watch 250. I think I'm leaning a lot more in that direction. When we open tomorrow, we could be a little weak because of the new home sales data. So we could start off a little weak, then start pushing higher. And we could eventually see Tesla continue to accumulate right here. We have a nice accumulation, nice inverse head and shoulders developing on it. On the very small time frames, we had a head and shoulders I called out earlier, but I asked the question, will this play out or will this fail? This did play out at least just a little bit, but ended up failing because more buyers stepped in. So we had this like head and shoulders right here. It tried to come through, but it failed, and we just saw the buyers continue to take the control. So that just tells me the buyers are in control now. They're starting to buy the dips, and we saw a lot of call buying on Tesla according to its flow, lots of bullish flow. And I think that the overall PPO and structure are suggesting 250 plus for Tesla very, very soon. For SPY, I see this also uptrending. We have a nice bullish divergence. Also on the VIX, I just want to mention the VIX has a triple bearish divergence, which tells me that as the market drags up a little bit, it starts to recover a bit, the VIX could get dragged down. And this is all, once again, related, and it's looking quite evident. So this tells me that we're going to see SPY hit 434 plus. If that breaks on the daily, you want to watch 435, which is where we have this gap resistance. If that breaks, then we have this gap fill to 438. I'm leaning more bullish for 434 first and 435. And if we break this, 438 is on the table. But I'm leaning more bullish overall. I think we're going to see more upside. For the IWM, I think it's going to try to approach 178 plus very, very soon, looking at the 4-hour charts. 178 is going to be coming, in my opinion, for IWM. For Aapl stock, it's looking a little bit more bullish because we have a potential accumulation structure that developed right here. This looks like a white coffee and accumulation. We're going to be watching this 176.72 area. If we break this, 177.5 plus 178 are going to be coming. Aapl has to break this first, though. That's the only thing stopping it. So it hasn't officially broken out just yet in a very strong manner. We're still waiting for it, but I do lean in that direction from a technical standpoint. Now, always remember when it comes to charts and Aapl, if some bad news comes out, I can't always predict that. I can't predict any pieces of news for now, but what I can tell you is that it's very likely from a technical standpoint, Apple's going to see some upside and make an attempt to break the 50 EMA. So I'm still leaning in that direction. For the QQQ, you have a bullish divergence, nice bounce that came on it. I think this thing is going to get dragged up thanks to Nvda, Apple, and Tesla, and etc. I think the QQQ is heading for 361 very soon at our 20 EMA. And if that breaks, we're going to be watching for even more upside towards 362.5 and maybe even 365, thanks to Tesla especially. Nvidia is looking more bullish. The 4-hour time frame has a potential inverse head and shoulders. We had a nice divergence that formed here. My prediction on Nvidia was this thing might come down and then bounce and start pushing We came down towards this gap. I was thinking we might fill the gap and then bounce. We actually came just short of doing that. We bounced off 412 instead of coming down to like 410, which is still very close, but very similar to what I was thinking would happen. Then we saw 420 plus. That's what we were predicting. That's what happened to Nvidia. The next level to watch for would be this thing maybe cooling off a little bit when we open, then pushing for the 430s. I think it's going to try to make its way up to 431 to 433 very soon towards this 50 EMA. I think it has potential. I'm leaning more in the bullish direction as of right now. I also wanted to add that just for a few others, Microsoft has potentially 320 coming very soon at our 20 EMA. We have a nice bullish divergence as well on it. Nice accumulation, nice bullish crossover on the PPO, leaning a little bit more bullish on it. SPX is likely going to be approaching its gap resistance at this 200 EMA at 4370. I think there's a good chance it's going to attempt to go higher, which is going to drag SPY up. For the VIX, on the 30 minutes time frame, the VIX has a, let me just zoom out and show you this, a triple bearish divergence right here starting to play out. VIX is turning weaker. This could start selling off towards this, I would say 16 level, maybe below that. And we could see it approach 15.11 possibly. The market would likely have some downside. The market may have some upside, excuse me, guys, and the VIX may have the downside because of the market. So I think that's very probable. The dollar, it's still kind of flat right now, not really doing much, so it's not affecting the market as badly. But we have some strong resistance around 106, so watch for that potential rejection. I think Coinbase has potential to get closer to 74, but we need to get above this 50 EMA. If we break above 72.5, I could see 74 very soon. We have to do that first. For Google, this is looking like it's going to test 133 very soon. If we break it, 134.14 is on the table. But for now, we're going to be watching 133 as resistance. I think it's going to test that first, and we'll see if it breaks or not. Amazon looks like it's going to be testing, in my opinion, this resistance. So we have this resistance right here at this 132 area. If we break it, 134 is also on the table for Amazon. Amazon and Google are at like very similar levels, so it's very interesting. But I just want to mention, we want to see if Amazon could break above 132. If we do so, that's going to be a good signal. We're at resistance at supply right now, so it hasn't officially broken out, but it has potential to do so looking at this nice structure. And then Meta, looks more bullish. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders. 305 is on the table. But remember, when you look at the 4-hour chart, we want to see this thing try to get a bounce off this double bottom and continue. So we want to see the follow through. It might retest 300.5 and bounce, start pushing for 305. I could see 305 on it. So it looks more bullish to me. That's where this resistance happens to be at 305.3. So watch that very carefully. I'm leaning more bullish overall, and I think that the market is due for a little bit more upside. I believe that this is not necessarily a guaranteed long-term pump. This could just be a very temporary bounce, as there could be more downside coming in October. There's still a possibility of that. So don't turn into like a perma bull or anything like that. Don't favor just one side. Just read the chart in front of you and be as unbiased as possible. Me being unbiased, the market dropped to very oversold levels and we are due for a bounce. And now we're starting to get signals suggesting that's going to be the case, especially on the VIX. I think the VIX signal was very telling. So that's going to be important. Watch your levels very carefully. Do what you have to do, guys. And just know there's likely a bounce coming for the markets. For Tesla, we're likely going to see the bullish case play out. I think 250 is going to break soon. I think we're going to be watching 252 soon. If it breaks all of those, then 258s to 260s on the table above that. Let's first watch 250 to 252 on Tesla. Let's see Tesla try to break out. Let's see a bullish cross on the PPO. And let's see some upside because I think the odds greatly favor that. Watch these imbalances and let's see what Tesla could do. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Market is due for this. Do what you have to do. Take care. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the next update video. Thank you and peace out.